To Paul Lane. He is here to talk about snow clearing. How you doing, sir?
Pete, how are you doing today?
Not bad.
Good, boy. Happy New Year to you.
And you?
Yeah. Pete, I did want to speak about the snow clearing.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, and I'm sure other MHAs as well, I've been pretty bombarded, I guess, with emails, Facebook posts, and so on from people, my constituents who have to travel the highways for work, and particularly the Outer Ring Road and so on, and the CBS bypass, and people going out to Long Harbour, but also people from throughout the province who have, obvious concerns with the snow clearing. And, we've heard about it through the media, and anyone who's been out on the highway, I'm sure that, they've seen the, issues that have been occurring. I do want to put it in perspective, though, because I want to try to be factual about it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The reality of it is that, we never did have total 24-hour snow clearing 7 days a week. It wasn't 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
There were parts of the province, the high traffic areas, such as, like I said, the Outer Ring Road, Veterans Memorial, TCH from Whitburn to St. John's, Clarenville to Whitburn, Gander to Grand Falls, those areas, the high traffic volume areas, that had 24-hour snow clearing 5 days a week. And of course, the other routes going into a lot of the, rural areas and so on, they never did have the 24-hour service. So just to be factual, as the minister has said, that is the case. And,
but if I can interject for a second, there seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems to me that in years gone by, and perhaps more years than I can recall, there was a pretty swift reaction, especially when the forecast gave us ample indication that precipitation was on the way. The machines seemed to be out there pretty quickly and in good numbers, and even in the most heavy snowfall, we were able to get around and much better than we can now.
That's absolutely correct, and that's what I want to get. That's the point I want to get to, Pete. The change in the policy, in my mind, has definitely had an impact. It's had an impact from the perspective of you're depending on weather forecasts, which we know can change here in Newfoundland and Labrador quite rapidly. They're also depending on RNC, RCMP, and so on, who's out on the highways to call in and say, boys, the roads are slippery, you should call somebody out. Those types of things. Then there's going to be a delay. Let's say that happens. First of all, there's going to be a lag period between when somebody actually, I guess, observes this and calls it in. Then when it's called in, they got to call in staff, and they could live wherever. They might have to drive a half hour, 40 minutes to get to work. Then they got to warm up the trucks, get out on the road. So there's going to be a delay, and that's going to cause problems for sure. And that's where I see problems with the new policy. However, I've seen a lot of pictures and anecdotal evidence which have been presented to me by citizens and so on. And a lot of these situations we've seen are not happening necessarily late at night, early in the morning. They're happening, this is like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the day, 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Even with ample indication, again, from forecasting that the weather is on the way, and there's no need for the delay because they know it's coming. It's almost like they're saying, you know what, we're that strapped, even when we know it's going to be dangerous and there's going to be a ton of traffic out there, we're not going out until we absolutely have to stretch every dollar. I tell you, if we're in that situation, if that's where we are, if that's as bad as it is right now, why don't we just call a provincial state of emergency?
Well, Pete, you know what? You're making a good point, and you are making that point, and you are making the point that I wanted to make. That it seems to me that obviously there's a big delay now in normal times, and then the question is, why is there a delay now? It could be because what you have said, that they're just leaving it and stretching it to the nth degree, saying, well, maybe it looks like it's going to warm up a little bit, so maybe the ice will melt before we need to go out and all this kind of stuff. I don't know if that's happening or not, but it certainly seems like it could be. But the other thing, I've been contacted by a couple of people, sources within the department, and what I've been told, and I would like for the minister to come on perhaps and answer these questions, because I could put in an access to information request, and I probably will do so, but there's a time delay in that. I could be a month or 2 months. The winter could be over by the time I get an answer on it. Potentially. So I'm going to put it out here, throw it out here publicly. Maybe if you have the minister on, you can ask him. What I have been told is that we have a number of pieces of equipment within our fleet that are not operational. A lot of it needs to be replaced, but it hasn't been replaced. And an awful lot of it needs to be repaired, but we do not have the employees to repair it. We do not have the mechanics. I was told in one particular circumstance there used to be 9 mechanics in a particular site, and we're down to 3 mechanics now.
Well, mechanics can be hired, right? Can't we contract that out? Mechanics can be hired.
Yes, they absolutely can.
Or
but
contracted.
What I'm saying to you, Pete, is these are the questions that we need to get answers to. And I can't say it for a fact. I can only tell you that I have been contacted by people who claim to, have the inside track, if you will, within the department, and have told me categorically that the issue we have, one of the biggest issues we have, is that there's lots of equipment. There's equipment there that needs to be replaced and is not fit to be on the road, a lot of it, and equipment that needs to be repaired, and we do not have the staffing in place. We do not have the mechanics in place to repair the equipment. So therefore, even in the daytime, in areas where the roads are supposed to be plowed, if there's supposed to be 4 pieces of equipment on the road, there might only be 1 or 2 because the other 2 are broken down.
Well,
now,
if that's the case,
I don't know that that's being the fact.
Well, I know, and I'm just saying,
I've been told, right?
If that's the case, it is a matter of time before emergency situation occurs to such a degree that equipment will be sent out on the road, whether it's ready or not, whether it's safe or not. I can't imagine that you're going to have a blizzard of a certain proportion that needs to be cleared up as fast as possible, where they're not going to be fudging in their judgment and saying, you know what, we can't take the heat, we can't take the pressure anymore. You take that and you go out there.
Well, that could happen as well. So you're right, and that's another concern. So the point I want to make with my call today, Pete, is to say this, that were there changes made to the policy? Yes, there was. Are those policies having an impact on snow clearing? I believe they are. But I also believe that there is more at play than simply the change that was made to the nighttime snow clearing. I believe that there are other factors at play, and the roads are obviously not getting done. I have been told it's due to manpower, lack of equipment, lack of maintenance, lack of people to perform that maintenance. I can't say for certain that that's true. I could put in an access to information. I will, but it will take time. So if you have the minister on, perhaps he could answer those questions for the people. Ask him, do we have the appropriate number of equipment? Like obviously there must be a policy and a protocol that says for each section of highway there shall be X number of pieces of equipment on the road at all times. I'm sure there's some guideline. Is that actually happening or not?
There may be some sort of formula they're using loosely. Maybe it's one that used to be used and isn't anymore. And I can't speculate what the current status is in terms of percentage of machines ready to go at any time. But anyway, listen, we'll reach out to the minister. We'll see if we can get him on and ask some of these questions. I do appreciate your call and information today. I've got an email I'm going to read out now on this subject. So if you can, stay tuned and see what you think of this.
I certainly will, Pete. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to talking to you again. And I really hope something can be done here because, safety is paramount. This is not, people are not traveling the highways. I've heard some people say, well, stay off the highways. Well, guess what? If you're a nurse or a doctor or whatever, that you have a job, emergency services, you have no choice. You have to get to work. It's not an option unless it's a state of emergency. You can't say, I can't come to work. You're expected to get into work. And so you have to use those roads. It's a necessity, and those roads need to be safe for people.
If you're a politician who needs to get out to your district to survey some damage or some need to, do something, then, yeah, you got to be on the road, too. Carrie Hodder? Carrie Hodder. That's right. Carrie Hodder says, we have to be here every day. Everybody needs to get somewhere or else shut the place down. Thank you, Pauline.
Thank you, Pete. You have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.